So this is our second period. Do you guys want to start by just somebody telling them what it is that we're doing and what kind of information you would like to know? Nobody in here knows anything.
I know
All
what
right,
good
Ryan
teaching
and
is.
Seth, you guys always do. Go ahead.
Well, so we're going to be doing, it's two parts of a project. So why I want to do quilts and then you do bootlegging. Last project, last figures we had were for quilts. We're going to make a barn quilt, and then we're going to make a story to go along with that, and make that connect with the barn quilt, and make a podcast, which is like audio, and QR codes. So it's going to be a trail, and then the people are going to go across the trail. But we're going to make a bootlegging story, and this is what, yeah.
Hey, so for our stories, we're going to make it tie in with the quilts or the barn quilts. So you have to make it tie in with bootlegging and other past stories that we passed on from generation to generation.
So you got bootlegging and you got moonshining. That's a little bit of the difference, right, Chris?
Yeah.
You got your moonshiners that produce the liquor, and you got the bootleggers that sell it. You go out and distribute it. So it's two different jobs to the moonshining.
That's an important distinction when you guys tell your stories, right? You want to make sure that you're talking about your characters using the right vocabulary based on their role in the process.
Y'all lucky to have such a class as this. If they had something like this when I was y'all's age, I'd probably stay in school. This is a right interesting topic.
So, whatever you guys would like to tell them, any stories that you have.
Okay. You want to go, Henry?
Well, I was raised up around moonshine. My father was a moonshiner all his life. My grandfather was a moonshiner. And of course, I fell right into the same tracks as they did. And there's a whole lot to it, everybody says the glory, glory, glory of moonshining. It's a lot of heartbreak to moonshining too. It's a lot of hard work. You go in every day, you work, rain, snow, sleet, hail, whatever it takes. You got to get that liquor out. You got people waiting for the liquor to be delivered. You got to produce it. You got to get it to them. You got people that wants corn liquor. You got people that wants rye liquor. Then you have a season for the peaches and fruit where you make your brandies. So it's not a seasonal thing. It's a year-round thing. You work inside. You work mostly outside. Like a lot of times we'd work in the summertime. The leaves would be out, and to hide from the airplanes, we would work on the big oak trees. But come fall of the year, wintertime, when the leaves fell, we had to move in the pine patch. So my father was real good about finding those different spots. As soon as the leaves would fall, we'd have to move to the pine patches and start working. And then when summertime come, we'd try to get back under some big oak trees and work. But the main thing to making good liquor is water. Right, Chris? You got to have plenty of water.
There's a question back here.
Did you necessarily want to do this, like go into moonshining?
Well, that's the weird thing about it. I mean, you sit and watch your father go to prison when you're little, growing up. And he goes off and he stays gone for a year at a time, 2 years at a time, and it's tough on a kid going to school. Just imagine, your dad's in prison and you go to school and you think somebody's going to bring it up, or point it out to you or something like that. It can make you withdrawn a lot. But yeah, you don't really think about doing it, but I don't know, it's an excitement to it when you start getting a little bit older and you start seeing what they're doing, and then it's a chance of making money. We didn't have the opportunities you guys have got. I mean, classes like this, like Chris was saying, is unbelievable. And to be in Franklin County and Rocky Mount, if you didn't come from money and you was out trying to make a living, you worked at a factory or, like my dad said, a sawmill making just a few dollars a week, or you go out in the woods and you can make 3 times, 4 times that much and take that gamble of getting away. And so it's easy to fall in the same footsteps as your parents. Just make sure they're the right ones.
A lot of the mountain people, Woody was talking about going to prison. A lot of the mountain people that I was around when I was a kid, they used to talk about that they just as soon be locked up pulling times, they had to be hemmed up in a factory somewhere, because they was really free-spirited people and strong in their beliefs, and I don't know, they had a little wild blood in them, I reckon you might say. It looked like it, as I had a buddy that got caught, and he had to get a job. He was on probation, he had to get a job, and he went to work down at Stanley Furniture, Bassett or somewhere down there where them factories was. And he was on probation. He worked on it about 2 weeks and quit. He said he just soon full time to had that, and right back to the woods he went to go making liquor, because that's just what he knew. And
Rather be in jail.
yeah, I mean, which I know it ain't no pleasant place to be, but to him, that being hemmed up in that, and that's the way I felt about going to school. Y'all got enough interesting stuff to keep y'all occupied, but when I was in school, all I could think about was, well, the squirrel was cutting hickory nuts, and I could be out there knocking one off my limb, or I had everything else on my mind but school. It didn't interest me at all. And but you know, if I'd had something like this, I'd have probably been just all up into it, I guess.
Yeah, that's a good opportunity, there's no doubt about it.
Are both of you guys legal moonshiners now?
We went legal, that's for sure.
And were both of you previously moonshiners that were maybe not legal?
Well,
They got statute of limitations on it, you know. So I had to check into that. You got like 7, 8 year statute of limitations on money laundering and racketeering. So that's why I wrote this book, 100 Proof. It took me years. I've been gathering information on moonshine with my family, but I was afraid to talk about any of it. Like now, I mean, it's like forbidden for years. You couldn't talk about stuff. But with the real laws, that the way they changed, the statute of limitations run out, now we're able to talk about it a little bit. Can't tell you everything, but we can tell you, right much.
Was it scary or exciting when you cops got near and you had to run?
Oh man, it's a rush. It's a rush. It's just hard to explain. When you first go in, you hear these stories about people freezing. So the first thing you think is, am I going to freeze? They come in and jump on me, am I going to freeze up? And that'd be embarrassing, coming from a family like I came from. But when a man jumps on your back, just imagine you in there working and be getting just about daylight. Look at me running, and all of a sudden a guy comes around, and they have patches on their shoulders and stuff with the uniforms that they wear. Like one time, I was propped up against the steel, a guy came around, it's the first time I got run. Guy came around through the steel, and it was like slow motion. And you could see him coming, but you just couldn't move there for a split second. And this guy, I had to give it to him, he was pretty tough. He grabbed 2 of us around the neck at the same time, me and another, my partner. So we're fighting, we're scrambling around. I break loose, my partner goes down on the ground, this agent comes up on top of it. And that's the first time I got away, and when I got away then, I'd lost about $3,000 or $4,000, I was in the hole, but it was a rush. I mean, a rush. It was exciting. Very exciting.
You were scared and excited?
Scared and excited, but you go back for more, and you get better at it. The first time you get run, you get better at it. Each time you get run, I was run a lot of times, and each time I got better and better at it. I got braver and braver. So it's a rush. It's a rush.
So, seeing problems really are a chance to do your best, right? They just wrote an essay on that quote.
On what?
Problems are a chance to do your best. So you just keep trying until you succeed. Practice makes perfect.
I figured out when the first time they ran me, because I would always ask Dad and them, how did you get away when law came in? None of them could ever really answer that question. So I figured out, I'll show you a little demonstration. Say like this, is steel place here. And you coming in, and the creek is always below you. So the way the law would come in, they wouldn't just come in 5 or 6 of them running at you at one time. They would have one guy coming down this way. And what's your first instinct when you see somebody coming running towards you like danger? Run away. So that's what they expect you to do. He's coming at you. If I come at you now, you're going to turn and run away. Well, that's the mistake you make. When you run away, they spread them out about 100 yards down the creek, down the hill. And they spread them out so many feet apart. So you run 100 yards down the hill, and there's one waiting on you, a fresh man waiting on you. He's sitting on a stump. You run up on him, and you're caught. So we learned to come back around as the jump man. They call him a jump man. You got the jump man, and you got the people set up out there to catch you. So the jump man comes in. If he can't get you and bulldog you into the ground, you get around him. You go back the way he came in, and 99% of the time you can get away. And that's what we learned to do. And the biggest key to that was never run. I saw so many people run when there was no use to run. And if man's not chasing you, don't run, because you don't know who you're gonna run into out there 100 yards from there. So you walk unless the man's on your back, you run if he is on your back.
Chris, did you do any running?
No, I never did get into no running.
You're lucky.
Yeah,
You're good, you're lucky, you're better, you're better than me.
Here's a question.
What does it take, or what do you guys have to do to become legal moonshiners? What does that kind of process look like?
it was, I tell you how I got into it right there. We, all this stuff you see on television, you see this moonshining show and all this stuff is an up and coming thing, you know, and, the heritage of it and all that, you know, and we done at the Blue Ridge Folklife Festival, the band that I play with, the old time string band, we play like square dance music and stuff like that, and I've been fascinated with the music and that lifestyle of those mountain people all my life, and that's how I got into the whiskey. But anyway, what I was getting around to telling you, we do the demonstration set up at the Fairfield Folklife Festival, the little copper submarine type steel that they've got set up, which is typical Franklin County style of whiskey making. We do that every year, and in 2007 that was the first year that we actually done it. The band that I play with do it, because the guy that formed the band that I play in, he's made look all his life, and so the college asked him to come down and do a little demonstration. And people, it just blew me away at the interest that people had in distilling techniques. You know, they'd come there at the festival, and then people were just blown away by the way that you could take pine boards and a sheet of copper and just pretty much homemade stuff and set up and go to making liquor just, you know, with just pretty much basic stuff. And I told a band member, I said, you know, this right here, people got so much interest in it. I said, we really ought to check into getting get a license to make liquor so we can, you know, kind of capitalize on the history of the county and what our people had to do to survive back at that time, because it was means of survival. It's like somebody asked a while ago, did you want to do it because Henry's daddy was doing it? A lot of them, it wasn't that they wanted to do it, it was all they had. You know, chances are if your daddy is a logger, a lot of times if you ain't got too many options, you're going to be in the logging business. Same thing with farming and everything else. And that whiskey was a cash crop for these mountain people, because there wasn't a lot of opportunity. You know, they didn't have the opportunity that people have today. And that's how I got into it legally, because I seen the interest that people had at that festival. And I got the application in 2007. I got a friend of mine to go and get the application, and I read over that thing, and it was a stack of papers that thick. I thought, golly, I said, there ain't no way in this world. I mean, I'd read through the first page, and my head felt like it was going to buzz. So I just said, the heck with it. You know, I didn't think no more about it. And but that liquor making, after you ever once get a dose of it, it gets in your blood, and you're all the time trying to figure how you can do just a little bit better at this or a little bit better at that, and it's just, I mean, it's just like he said, it's a rush. It's something it gets in your blood, and you just ain't gonna get it out. I mean, if you ever get into something other that gets you that interested, you know, you're gonna be trying to do it. I didn't want to have to go pull no time, so I said, you know, if I'm gonna make a whole lot of liquor, I better be studying about getting me a license. So
I called Chris up, going to the license. I called Chris up. I've been thinking about it for years, getting the license. And I called Chris up one day. He put in some septic tanks for me, and I was going to get the price on putting in some septic tanks. I said, Chris, what are you doing? He said, I'm up here in town running brandy. I said, oh, what do you mean running brandy? That's something you don't talk about on the phone. I said, up in town running brandy. You know, I thought maybe we can, what's going on here? Sure enough, he said, come on uptown. So I went uptown, there he was. Had steel set up, I could not believe it. So we're unloading this truckload of rye there at his steel place, and I'm looking around thinking the law's watching us the whole time that it was legal. You know, it's hard to grasp that fact that it's legal. Now you can pick it up and do what you want. You can take your liquor, you can proof it, you can run it, and don't have to worry about the man jumping on your back. You don't get to rush, you know, but
it's a totally different thing. But from 2007, when we first set up that little demonstration still at the Blue Ridge Folklife Festival, every year we've done it since then. We play music up there too. And in 2013, I went to Myrtle Beach on vacation with my family. I got a wife and 2 daughters. And, when we was down there, we went to a Palmetto moonshine distillery there at Myrtle Beach. And we wanted to take a tour of it, and so we go in there, you know, and they had a little old still there, looked about like a cap that we'd have on stills up here, you know, I mean, it was just a little small thing.
Small.
Yeah, and, I mean, not saying nothing against what they're doing, but they, you know, they was giving us a tour, and I was thinking, well, that's just plumb interesting. And the guy that was giving the tour, he had a ponytail and earrings all the way around his ears, you know, and he looked a little different than the bootleggers I'd ever seen, but anyway, he was giving the tour, and then he asked, first question he asked was, where all y'all from? We was in a line, you know, to go through and look at their little demonstration still. And people there from Northern Virginia, and it was some people there from Maryland and Pennsylvania. And when they got back there to us, I told them we was from Franklin County, Virginia. And 2 or 3 different ones, I mean, from way away from here, you know, in that line, they said, y'all, you ought to be giving the tour instead of taking it. Said, daggone, that's what they make all that liquor at. And so I told my wife when we left from there, I told her, I said, you know, we got 2 beautiful lakes and a college and all kind of stuff for people away from here to know us for. And I said, you mention Franklin County and liquor's gonna be the first thing people come up with, just because of the magnitude that it's been here in this county. And
That's
so
where you go. Everywhere you go, they know Franklin County. Everywhere you go.
So that's the reason I told her, I said, when I get home, I'm gonna sit into studying about getting licensed, and I got hooked up to some people who could help me with the legality side of it, you know. So we sat right in and got us a license and went to making liquor. It's legal.
I'd like to know either about close calls or what kind of mistakes may lead to getting run.
Most of the people out hunting, going out to the daylight, you gotta move it dark, you gotta move it nighttime, keep them getting seen. A lot of times we'd go in, we'd always go in before daylight, we'd fire up the stills, we'd run them, and if we finished before it got dark, we'd have to sit there until it got dark before we'd go back out on the road. Competition, you know, a lot of times it's competition, we get find out something, want to knock you out, take over your sales, take over your steel places, neighborhoods. We went in and set up a steel place one time, and we were mashing it in, and that's when you got a lot of money tied up. So I'm down picking up some sugar bags, and these 2 guys are up in front of me, and they started running. So I'm thinking the man's getting ready to jump on my back, so I take off running behind them, but at the same time I'm turning around looking, I don't see anything. So they start pointing down toward the creek, and as a man was down there, I could see him with a red jacket. Well, you know, if you got any sense at all, you know, the cops are not going to have a red jacket on, they're going to be camoed up. So I run the man down, you know, I want to talk to him. If you could talk to them, 99% of the time they won't tell it. They won't go to the local store. Usually they'll go to the local store and start talking about it. But if you can talk to a man and tell him you got all this money invested, you know, keep quiet about it, most of the time they'll keep quiet about it. But I caught this man and I scared him to death. He thought I was going to kill him, I guess. He's screaming. And I'm trying to calm him down. And all I want to do is talk. He's thinking I want to kill him. So we had come to a little agreement. He told me to leave him a half a gallon of liquor every week at the steel place. So I said, all right, that sounds good. So every week we run, I leave half a gallon for him. Well, about 3 weeks later, this lady came walking down the road bed to the steel place, and I see her coming down. Well, I call him Mr. Red Jacket. He had a Mrs. Red Jacket. She came up and she said, you know, since y'all been here, my husband's been drunk ever since you've been here. And you know, you don't think about stuff like that. And I'm like, well, you know, I'm sorry about that. He told me that he wanted me to leave a half a gallon of liquor for him to get every week. And she said, well, I'm telling you not to leave it for him. And I said, yes, ma'am. And we stayed there for months. But if I'd have said, you know, if I'd have kept leaving that liquor for that guy, she would have told, you know, she would have had us caught. You know, so it's a lot of ways you get caught, a lot of ways.
Here's a question.
What were the slang terms or code words when you were making it, or?
I don't know as far as slang. We didn't do a lot of talking when we were inside in the steel place, because your voice will carry farther than like a little whistle. If you do a little whistle, it's got a high pitch to it. You want to get somebody's attention. and car doors and stuff. You don't slam your car doors, you'll ease it together and just push it together real easy. A lot of stuff carries in the woods, but mostly I would say hunters and stuff like that, or if somebody stole a vehicle one time, they flew a helicopter and found us. They had seasons that they would fly planes and look for us. Stuff like that, we had to do a lot of camo. But you could watch an airplane, if it came through, and that airplane cocked up a certain way, if you were over here, and the airplane cocked up this way, you know he's looking this way, he can't see you. So you gotta be in there to see that stuff, and know whether you're spotted or not. And the biggest thing is do a lot of scouting too. You do a lot of scouting, look for tracks. If you find a track, foot track, then you know you gotta get on your toes. We used to do, go out 100 yards and circle our steel place before we got busy to make sure the law wasn't in too close on us. They usually like to jump you when you're jogging up the lift when you're real busy. You're capping the next two steels. You run two, you get ready to cap two more, and you're real busy and you can't look. You learn to eat looking out. You know, when you eat, you're just looking out like this. You know, when you're stirring steel, you're looking out like this. Always looking out to see the gap. But after a while, like I was saying about these jump men, you'll figure out how he's going to come in and raid you. You'll know at a certain point to keep your eye on, because sometimes it'll be one jump man. I've seen as many as 3 jump men come in on you. So you learn where that spot is. It's usually a thicket that he can get up close to you. So he's got to sneak up on it. They're only human like us. And you sit there and you watch that place for a little while and you figure out, okay, how can he get up on me? What's the only way that he can get up on me? And you start watching that spot. And most of the time you can walk out, you can just walk away. I walked away more from more steel places than I was run from, just from learning those little tricks.
What happens when the revenue finds your still place?
A lot of
Or
times,
illegal still place?
well, a lot of times they'll lay and watch, you know, and just hold tight and try to get all the information they can. And some of y'all asked earlier about how a lot of times what leads up to getting captured, and we're talking about competition and other things, you know. But a lot of times they follow that sugar trail, you know. I mean, it takes a lot of sugar to make liquor. Now, back in the old days, a lot of people back in the hills that didn't have means of getting sugar and stuff like that, they made a lot of pure grain whiskey, which is, you have to know how to mash it to convert the starches in the grain into sugar and break it down so the yeast can eat the sugar to make the alcohol, and they can make pure grain stuff. And, you know, it was they didn't use so much sugar, I mean, way on back, but, you know, since the early 1900s, the demand has got bigger and bigger and bigger for whiskey, you know, like what led to the big moonshine conspiracy trial here in this county in 1935, got national attention, and that was because of the volume of materials that they were using and the amount of whiskey that they were making. They was getting sugar in by boxcar loads. I mean, on train to Ferry, at the Ferry Mercantile, they was unloading hundreds of thousands of pounds of sugar, you know, a year. And
Millions of pounds.
yeah, and even in 1999, I mean, this, which is before y'all's time, I guess, but even in 1999, they had a big raid here in this county, and it affected a lot of people and a lot of families and stuff. But they done an investigation on a place of business here in the county that was selling sugar to the bootleggers and things.